ready to go over some more dividing fractions. Now today, we're going to divide mixed numbers, not just your regular fractions, but mixed numbers, okay? So I'm going to go ahead and get started. And for those people that like to go ahead and solve the problems before we go through them together, I'm going to give you a chance right now to pause your screen and to solve those problems, okay? Problem number 1 is 3 3/4 divided by 2 1/2. Okay, so the first thing that we have to do with mixed numbers is turn them into improper fractions so that we can actually work the problem, okay? Now, I don't know if you recall from previous lessons how to do that, but I'm going to show you. So, first thing we do is take the denominator of this part of the fraction and times it by the whole number. And so that's going to be, we're going to start that over here on this side. So 4 times 3 is 12. Then to that number that you got from multiplying 4 times 3, you're going to add what's left in the numerator. So plus 3. And then all you do is keep the denominator the same here, okay, for this fraction. All right? Now, the next thing we need to do, we're going to keep, for right now, we're going to keep the sign the same because we haven't started trying to solve the problem. We're just trying to turn the problem into a improper fraction, okay? So we just have a numerator and denominator. Now let's do the same with the second mixed number, okay? So you remember the denominator times the whole number, which is going to be 2 times 2, which is 4. And then you add the number that's in the numerator, which is 1, okay? And you keep the denominator the same as with this part of the fraction, okay? Which is going to be a 2. So now let's come down here and let's actually make this into an improper fraction. So 12 plus 3 is 15. And then we keep the numerator the same. Okay? Next, 4 plus 1 is 5. And the numerator stays the same. Now, we've just rewritten this as improper fractions instead of mixed numbers. That's all we've done. Okay? Next, in order to solve this, if we're going to actually do the division, we have to do those 3 steps that we did before, which was rewrite the first fraction, and we're going to use these improper fractions. And then what do we do to the sign, the division sign? We make it into a multiplication sign. And then the second fraction, we are going to flip it. So now it's going to be 2 over 5. Now we can solve it, okay? Now, there's 2 ways that we can do this. We can just go ahead and solve it the long way. And then, once we do that, I can show you the other way to do it. So I'm going to start with the long way. So let's just do 15 times 2, which is going to be 30. And then 4 times 5 will be 20. All right? And we simplify it. Can we make the numbers smaller? And guess what, guys? I'm going to make this real easy, just in case you didn't think of this. This is what I would do. I would just get rid of those zeros. You have to make your improper fraction. If you have an improper fraction, you have to turn it into either a mixed number number. We just can't leave it improper, okay? That's what we're doing today. So if we were to do that, the way that you can turn it back into a mixed number at this point is if we're going to stick with 3 over 2, how many times does 2 go into 3? How many times does 2 go into 3? 1 time. So once you take 2 from 3, how much is left? You have 1 left. So we take that 1 and we put it in the numerator. And remember, we keep the denominator the same, okay? So you come up with 1/2. Another way that you could have gone with this problem, okay? So I like to look at the numerator and then the denominator of the fractions from across from each other. Because if you can cancel them out or make them smaller, that helps you skip some steps, okay? So I looked at 15 and 5 and said, oh, wait a minute. Those two share the common factor of 5. So let's look. How many times does 5 go into 5? 1 time. So we're going to change this to a 1. And how many times does 5 go into 15? 3 times. So we're going to change that to a 3. Now, I'm going to look on the other side, okay? This numerator and this denominator. And I'm going to say, okay, those two actually, 4 and 2 actually share factors. So 2 is the factor they have in common. And so how many times does 2 go into 2? 1 time. And how many times does 2 go into 4? 2 times. All right, so now let's try and solve this problem using our new numbers, okay? 3 times 1 is 3, and 2 times 1 is 2. So we're already at 3 over 2 without even having to look at those zeros that we did the last time. It's okay if you go through the zeros, if you didn't even think about getting rid of the zeros, as long as you simplified, you would have come to that answer, okay? So I'm going to put it down here, and we came to the same answer, 1 1/2. All right, problem number 2. Let's go ahead and get started. It is 11 1/3 divided by 3 5/6. All right, so the first thing that we need to do is turn these mixed numbers into improper fractions so we can actually solve, okay? So we're going to divide the denominator by the whole number. So multiply them, which will be 33, because 11 times 3 is 33. And then we're going to add the numerator to that. And keep the denominator the same for the improper fraction, okay? We're just trying to rewrite this problem. We're not actually trying to solve it yet, just getting it into improper form. Now, this denominator, 6 times the whole number. 3 times 6 equals 18. We're getting into some bigger numbers now. And now we add the 5 that's in the numerator, plus 5. And we keep the denominator the same, okay? All right, now let's come down here and rewrite this problem out as improper fractions. 33 plus 1 is 34. And we keep the denominator the same. Just rewriting the problem as improper fractions. And next, 18 plus 5 is how much? Give you a second. It is 23. And then we keep the denominator the same. So we got to do those 3 things that we're supposed to do. We have to rewrite the first fraction. In this case, we're going to rewrite it. We're going to change our division sign to a multiplication sign. And then we're going to flip the second fraction. Okay? Now we can solve. Or we can look and see if there are any common factors between the numbers, the denominators and the numerators on opposite sides. So in this case, it would be this way and this way. Okay, I hope that doesn't confuse anybody. Let me make mine just so it's not confusing, hopefully. We're still looking at that multiplication sign. But I'm looking at 6 and 3 and I'm like, that's pretty, I can do that one pretty quickly because they have a common factor of 3. That's the biggest factor. They also have 2, but 3 is bigger. We're trying to get the numbers as small as we can, okay? So if we use the factor 3, how many times does 3 go into 3? It goes into 3 one time. And how many times does 3 go into 6? It goes into 6 2 times, all right? So if we just stop there and say those other numbers, we're going to leave them like they are. And we go ahead and we solve. 34 times 2 is how much? I'll give you a second to do that math. It's going to be 68. Now, let's go to the bottom. 1 times 23 equals what? 23. And I said, man, those are some weird numbers. So you know what I might do? I don't know if I would try and find factors in this case because the numbers are kind of weird. We have an even number and an odd number. So what I'd probably go ahead and do, because it's an improper fraction, I'll just go ahead and try putting it into making it a mixed number, okay? So 68 over 23. I'm going to say, how many times does 23 go into 68? I don't know. So I'm gonna start doing multiplication at the bottom here. 23 times 2. I know it goes in at least 23 times one time because it's 68 is greater than 23. But let me see about 23 times 2. That's gonna be 3 times 2 is 6, and 2 times 2 is 4. Okay, that works, but maybe it's 3. Maybe it goes into it 3 times. Let's see. 23 times 3. 3 times 3 is 9, and 2 times 3 is 6. Oh, we just missed 3. So we're gonna go with 23 goes into 68 2 times, all right? 2 times. So in that case, we have to see, once we took the 48 from it, how much is left over, okay? I mean the 46 from it, how much is left over? I'm gonna do that math right down here. 68 minus 46 is 8 minus 6 is 2, and 6 minus 4 is 2. So 68 minus 46 leaves 22 in the numerator at the top, and then we're just going to keep our denominator the same. Okay, you can continue to practice. Definitely get with your RAP family, with your teachers, and see if you can get some more problems to solve. Maybe you'll find some ways to practice on your own, but just make sure that you do practice because that's important in order to get better at it, okay? And in the meantime, remember that it is important to exercise your mind as well as your body, okay? And I look forward to seeing you soon. Bye-bye.